My guest is Jo Rae Perkins. She's running for senator, U.S. Senator. So we need a change in Oregon. There's a lot of craziness happening on the streets and in Portland and throughout the country. And unfortunately, that seems to be where a lot of Democrats, well, all the Democrats are operating in those cities that are happening that are allowing this go on. So Jo Rae is not fond of what's going on, and we're going to hear about that and some of the other issues that she has. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Veronica. It's great to see you again. It's been a few too many years, so I appreciate the opportunity to be here on your show today.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised to see that you won the primary on the Republican side. And you're a good person, and you know, when you were running for rep, and I voted for you there. So how is that all going? How's your race going?
It's going phenomenal. You know, God works in a way that sometimes we don't see. You know, we think it should be this way, but God's going, yeah, but my ways are not your ways. And so I'm sitting in this place. It's like I'm in the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
And I know that stuff is raging around. And I'm calm. And it is amazing. The only danger is in this calmness you can get complacent. Thankfully, I'm not one of these people that accepts complacency. So, and God knows that because it's how He made me. So it's just really easy. So I know that even though I think, well, this needs to happen, and if it doesn't happen, I've learned that it happens on His time frame, even though I'm thinking it's a different, I want it in here. He knows that when these things have to all fall into place and all shift into place. So it's going, and again, the campaign is going really great. We are raising money, and so if people want to donate, if you love me, you go to the website PerkinsforUSSenate.vote, click on that donate link button. I would love for it to not cost money. It's a statewide race. And even in a COVID campaigning world that we're in, it just means that we have to do more media. We have to do more money on advertising. We're saving money because we're not traveling all over the place. We save money on that end, but advertising is not cheap, and because we have to get outside out of the conservative circles and get into the moderate circles and even into some of the more liberal side. We have to be able to reach those voters as well.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of liberals that are like, you know, what's happening? Matter of fact, you said that you know people, and I think we probably all do. That used to be on the Democrats
side.
and other.
Oh, we're seeing it every day. One of my longest time friends, Jan, she sent me a text message the other day, and she goes, "Okay, how do I change my voter registration?" And she texted me back, and she says, "I'm officially a Republican."
What did she get tired of seeing?
She got tired of seeing how they're controlling everything. She is not pro-vaccine, and she saw how they are just trying to shove this vaccination stuff down us. She's done research on 5G wireless. She's done a lot of research on that. She's very electromagnetic field sensitive, and so she's paid attention to that for years. And I think it came about because of Lyme disease that she's been battling for years, and so she's very knowledgeable. And does a lot of reading, a lot of research. And so when she's seen who's pushing what, her eyes were just opened up to where she's just going, I've had enough. And she's seeing the craziness. And she has seen how President Trump is actually he wants us to be successful, not successful, where she sees on the other side where people are saying, well, we hope he fails. How can you say that if you hope he fails? Because if he fails, we fail.
Yeah.
And so it's been a change, and she's just one person out of thousands that are waking up.
She voted for Hillary, I would imagine.
I think she might have. I didn't ask her, but I'm going to guess that she did.
Did she hate Trump?
I don't know.
Okay.
We didn't. This is the most we've ever talked politics.
Yeah. You know.
So it's really interesting.
The rules for radical, which the Democrats mostly, and I'm not saying all of them, and I'm saying the leadership.
Right.
Okay. Most of the leadership have adopted rules for radicals. And what it is if you're doing something yourself, you blame the other person.
Correct. Projection.
Yeah. So the other person, if they say, "Oh, you were on Epstein Island," and they can say, "Oh no, you know, Trump took a picture with Epstein or whatever." You know,
Right.
they can. So what they did was so bad that if they accuse the other person, even if it's not true, then they don't look as bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
So pretty much what they say is not true is true.
Yeah, right. And so people who think they hate Trump because Trump does this and that, they actually probably, and I hate the word hate the word hate,
Despise.
despise the representatives because the representatives very well might be doing the same thing
Right.
that they're accusing him of doing.
Yep.
And that's what our eyes need to be open to.
To be able to see this. Well, but there's another side of what's going on. Their goal is to keep us divided,
Yes.
right? On
Right.
everything.
Right.
Divided on what you drive, what you wear, your religion, your hair color, your ethnic makeup, your race, your gender. Where do you live? What do you do for a living? Anything that they can find to divide us on. Because divided we're weak and we fall. See? Divided we fall, united we stand.
People have a hard time believing that leadership that they trusted in and believe in would actually proactively focus and do that.
They do. It's very, very difficult to reconcile that.
Uh-huh.
What I like to do is shift the narrative just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Veronica,
Yes, ma'am?
I'm going to guess that you want to love and be loved.
Yes.
You want to have a roof over your head.
Yes.
Be able to have food on the table.
Yes.
Provide for your family.
Yes.
You want to feel safe in your home.
Yes.
And you probably want the government pretty much to stay out of your life and leave you alone.
Heck yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we agree on that.
Uh-huh.
I have yet to have anybody tell me no.
Uh-huh. Right.
So I want to set the foundation. What do we agree on?
Yeah.
Not what do we not agree on. Let's talk about what do we agree
Yeah.
on. And a lot of times I'll follow it up with another question. Let me ask you this. Will you agree with me that our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren should have the same opportunity to define their own success, whatever that looks like? Whether that is to go to work and then come home and hang out with the family, build a big corporation where they can employ a lot of people, maybe it's joining the Peace Corps or going on the mission field. Whatever they feel is success, should they be able to define it for themselves?
Yes.
Two things we agree on. I have yet to have anybody say no, because we really want the same things. It's how do we get there is the question. Well, I don't want to know that stuff yet. See, I want to lay this groundwork, because every time I get an agreement that wow, we agree on something, I'm knocking bricks off of the division wall. I'm knocking it down every time.
Yeah.
And I won't stop doing that, because this is the United States, not the divided states.
Yeah.
And why do they want us divided? Because the elite, and it doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican, because there's
That's right.
rhinos, Republican in name only.
That's right. I can name a few.
We all know Mitt Romney. You know, we all see
Mitt
them.
Romney, John McCain, the late John McCain. Paul Ryan
Paul Ryan
was a horrible leader because he was a rhino.
He came out as a rhino, right? We thought he was a good guy.
Yep.
And eventually they're really good at showing their true colors.
Yeah.
And that's why we're seeing the changes that we're seeing a lot of Democrats waking up, because their colors are coming out. But they think because they're elected, and a lot of them have become uber wealthy in their elected positions,
Yeah.
that they're smarter than you and I. Because see, if we were as intelligent as they are, we would be right there with them. Now this is how I visualize what they're saying. I can't prove what I just said, but that seems to be, and hearing other people talking, I've heard similar things. Their goal is to completely destroy our republic. This is not a democracy.
Yeah. Well, it's just there's one little simple way of getting there is about the division part is George Soros. He was a Nazi youth, and he worked for Hitler, and he got a lot of money by turning his fellow Jews in, and now he uses his money to take over nations. How does he take over nations? He goes and he gets in their politics, and he creates a civil war, and he divides the nation, takes it over.
Yep, and
That's what he's trying to do to the United States.
That's it. And he causes their monetary value to drop, and he buys short. So he will buy currency, he'll buy foreign currencies, and he knows that he has set the table. So the value of that currency is going to drop. And he buys it on the bet that it's going to drop, and that's where he makes his bazillions, is that and toppling small countries. And then he takes that money to fund all these other nefarious, very evil activities that he's doing. And
Why is he wanting to divide and take over our country? What's his end game? Do you know?
I don't know. I know that the long-term goal of the Marxist people has been to topple America. Had Hillary been elected, let's just thank God she wasn't. She made a comment, and I honestly tried to find, I saw her say it, and I went online a few weeks ago trying to find it, so what I'm about to say, I could not find her saying it.
Okay.
What I did find is her retweeting what somebody had said, but what she said is, maybe we just need a new constitution. When she said that, I went, it's already written. Because it was that chuckle, see, her chuckle is a tell sign.
Yeah.
When she says something that you're going, that's just outlandish, she does a little chuckle. That means, it's, in my opinion, it's something that's already done.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. We're at, and we've been saying this for every election cycle, this is the most election in our time. That's true. It was true in 2008, 2012, 2016, and it is even more true today. See, every cycle, it has been on presidential elections and even on the midterms, we've gotten that much closer with President Trump. Why don't they like him? Because he's the wrecking ball. He loves this country. I mean, who walks away from a lavish lifestyle to where they can no longer walk down the street for the rest of his life without protection?
Yeah. Yeah, he
walked
had it
away.
made.
He doesn't even take a salary as President of the United States. He gives that money away. Nobody's ever done that.
Doesn't he give it
history.
to the veterans as well?
He gives it to multiple agencies. A lot of them are within the government, and I think that it's some way that it's written up.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. Most people go, and they accuse him of going there to enrich himself, and that's just a lie, and we know it's a lie. But where we're at today in this country is, and again, this is not Democrat versus Republican. This is good versus evil. This is, you know, the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. This is a spiritual battle, good and evil. And we need to be praying who God wants in what position where. And I think that's really imperative. What we're seeing up in Portland, in my opinion, is what we haven't seen going on in that other realm out there that is around us. That storm,
the spiritual realm.
The spiritual realm, that storm that is raging, it is now here.
Yeah.
It has come to the earth.
And we need to remember to pray. You know, when we wanted Hillary not to win, everybody prayed. Everybody prayed. And I think a lot of us have dropped the ball. And so we need to pick that up. We need to pray for Jo Rae and you know, President Trump, and that we get enough God-fearing people, which will not be Democrat. You can't be a Democrat and be God-fearing because of
it's a next to impossibility.
Yeah, well, because of the life issue and all the other issues.
Unless they feel that very strongly that they're there on a covert mission. And there's probably one or two.
Well, or they're extremely naive, but I don't think you can't anymore. When I was younger, I mean, it was a little bit iffy, and
there's up in Washington State, there's a gentleman running for nomination as a U.S. rep, and he's a pro-life Democrat, and he really wanted me to kind of endorse him. And I go, I think he wanted to meet with me, and I really didn't have the time. He was visiting with his daughter, and she wanted to meet me, and I just said, I don't have the time, because we're talking an entire day. You'll leave Albany, get up to Portland, and over an hour, an hour and a half, sit there, shoot the breeze, 2-3 hours, and then back home. I've lost the day. And he hasn't reached out to me. I said I would, if you want to spend 30 or so minutes on a Zoom video with your daughter, I'm more than happy to do that. But what I didn't say to the gentleman, he's a nice guy, is I understand that you are pro-life, and I love that. The challenge is that when you get to DC, if you win over the Republican, which now see I'm a Republican, I'm not going to endorse a Democrat.
Yeah.
And I can't tell the guy that. I can't endorse you because you're a Democrat. I don't want that to be the dividing wall. But I know that they're going to hog-tie him, so to speak,
Yeah.
and tie his hands
Yeah.
if he doesn't go along with the group.
Can you speak on the evolution of abortion? And I'm going to kind of preface that by saying that I believed, I was never pro-abortion, never, but I was just kind of like, well, I look at other issues. And because I believed that it was just like a rare thing. And then when Bill Clinton was in office, I even somewhat supported him until I was told about partial birth abortion. And then I thought I was being lied to, because no human being that wasn't the devil himself would support that. It's just so gruesome. And then I found out not only was it true, but the media, when you tried to point it out, they would refuse. James Dobson, I think from Focus on the Family, tried to, you know, his advertisements he was just trying to point it out. And they wouldn't let them in the newspapers or anything, or even on TV. It's gotten so horrible even past that. So that's my testimony. Then I became a hardcore conservative Republican because my blinders came off and I realized that it was all about lies and misleading people.
It is, and it's, some people say that it's actually a sacrifice to
Yes.
to Baal, B-A-A-L, so some people say Baal.
I believe that now.
So I can't say when or how I became pro-life. I don't know that it was a question, because in 1971, pre-Roe v. Wade, at the age of 15, I had an abortion.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
And so,
Wow, you had before. So you
Before
had
Roe
one
v. Wade.
in the back of the.
no, this is in the hospital.
Huh?
In California, it was legal. It's called a therapeutic abortion. Therapeutic to save the life of the mother. My life was never in danger. My mom was a surgical tech. And my mother said, I swear to God, if you're pregnant, I'm going to kill myself. I already knew. And I was 15. I should not have been doing what I did, but people do what they do. And so I still remember that day to this day. I'm 64 now, so do the math. There go the tears.
Yeah.
Sorry? I rarely tear up like this. So when people say, you know, there's no ramifications and there's no long-term ramifications, we're talking 49 years later and I still tear up.
And you're not the only one, and I've heard a lot of people.
Yeah, that is always there, because when you realize at 15, I can tell you, I had no concept of what I was doing, none whatsoever, as far as terminating the life of the baby. This is pre-Roe v. Wade. And so I can't say, oh, all of a sudden I had this awakening. That was never it. I don't think there was ever a question. And that's what for me is so weird, because I can't even put my hand on it, or, you know, or my finger on it and just go, aha. But knowing what we know, knowing that the heartbeat is beating within 18 days, the heart begins to beat from gestation, from conception, I mean. Not gestation, that's a whole term, from conception. In 18 days, that heartbeat is beating in that little itty-bitty zygote. It's amazing. I did a study one time to write a paper when I was taking classes at Oregon State University, and I was amazed at how rapid the development is. And so looking at that, and then, like you said, for the partial birth abortion, they have to be evil. You have to be so cold-hearted. It's one thing when it's this little itty-bitty thing the size of a bean, this little itty-bitty glob of cells, what it's not, you know, to extract that human being, because you don't really see it. That's not excusing it, but I can see where somebody would be able to deal with
would
that.
justify that in their mind.
But
yeah.
but to where now you are doing the dissecting and tearing apart. This is evil. There's no other way to put it. To the point to here in Oregon, our governor says it's okay to have an abortion.
Some people don't even know what it is. So partial birth abortion is when a baby they can't, use a vacuum cleaner or whatever they use,
They can't use
to
a
suck it
suction
out.
tube.
A
Yeah.
suction tube. So what they have to do is they have to kill it, and they do it in such a gross way. And if you have children,
Don't let them see this part. But a
Yeah.
lot of times they'll do a saline solution into the womb. They give the mother a pill, and then to start contractions, then they'll do a saline solution into the womb, into the uterus.
Well, they
And
they
then-
give it a pre-birth, and then they have to
Sever
put
the-
a syringe in and suck out the brain. And they've done videos, and the baby's in horrific pain.
Horrific pain.
Yeah, I mean, how would
And they say the baby in the womb doesn't feel pain till 20 weeks. I'd like to challenge that. I can't prove it.
no, but they've already proven that.
That's
but
pre-20
the
weeks.
guy used to perform abortion, and he changed it. He wrote a book called what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. But he took a video camera in there because he wanted to see what he was doing, and he
Wow.
saw the baby. It's called Silent
The
Scream.
silent scream.
He's,
Yeah.
he saw the baby very, very little.
Yes,
I don't know,
well, it'd
a
be
couple
thing-
months old or whatever.
Yeah.
Scream.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
the silent scream. That was just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing video. So when we look
I get
at
so
that,
mad even now that that we have politicians and even voters.
that are okay with it.
Yeah.
They're okay
it's
with
just, whew.
Up until in this state, up until the very moment of birth.
Okay. Yeah. Up and now they're
This is
doing
a
that.
full-term baby.
Okay,
This,
and-
the baby's not viable up until the 24th week. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah.
The baby is viable. But just because it isn't viable, it can be killed.
Uh-huh.
To now, if a baby is born alive post-abortion attempt,
And they tell people, basically, they found a way to make buku bucks by harvesting their body parts.
Yep.
So now they actually want people to let their babies grow more because they make more money off the baby's body parts.
Yep, yep.
So it's become a big money
it's
maker
all about money.
because, and Planned Parenthood will support the Democrat or even Republican that will support them, do whatever they want.
Yep.
And evil beyond anything.
It's straight out. It's
Yeah.
straight out evil. And I
Yeah.
have been endorsed by Oregon Right to Life because
Yes.
I am pro-life.
Yes, good.
And life begins at conception. It should end naturally.
Yeah.
And so being
the very
endorsed
end.
by Oregon Right to Life was huge for me. And
Uh-huh.
it helped a lot in the primary.
Yeah.
So we need to have somebody that's willing to go back there and fight against this. People want to see Roe v. Wade overturned. There is a bill that has been before the House and the Senate. I can tell you that Senator Merkley has voted twice against it in the 118th Congress, which is a 2-year Congress. So when you hear the 116th Congress. So when you hear the 116th Congress, that is 2019 through 2020. So 2021 will start the 117th Congress.
Okay.
Okay.
So Merkley, your opponent,
My opponent has
wants
voted
to keep abortion
has
going.
voted twice
Yeah.
against the Born Alive
Yeah.
Act.
And that's an example of Planned Parenthood affecting politics.
Yep.
And how politicians are willing to put up with their evil. So vote against Merkley.
Yeah, definitely. He's I mean anybody that even if you're pro-choice to kill the baby, even if you're of that vein, to even vote no against the Born Alive Act, that if that baby is born alive after an attempted abortion, the baby should just die. That's heinous.
Did
right
he
there.
vote for that?
He voted twice against
Oh,
no.
against that one.
Against that one 2 times now.
Wow.
He's voted no
Wow.
on that bill.
Wow.
So
How
there's
disgusting.
there's another bill that is being pushed, and this is why it's imperative, friends, to get people elected here in Oregon for the U.S. House of Representatives in the 5th Congressional District, which we're in. No, you're in the 1st. You're here in the 1st Congressional District. You have Chris Christensen is running. And the 5th Congressional District, Amy Ryan Corser. And the 3rd Congressional District, oh shoot, I don't remember Joanna's last name, begins with an H. My apologies, Joanna. In the 2nd Congressional District, which is pretty much all of Eastern Oregon, a little bit of Western Oregon, is Cliff Bentz. And then in the 4th Congressional District is Alex Garlatos, all pro-choice.
Okay. Oh.
I
wait.
mean, all pro-life.
All pro-life.
pro-life, not pro-choice. And so your choice is to vote for life. And then
And so they're all Republicans.
They're
so
all
in all those
Republicans.
districts, you can just vote Republican.
Correct. Vote
Okay.
Republican. And then for the U.S. Senate, I'm your pro-life candidate. There's a bill called, and I know I'm going to mess this up, it's the Life at Conception Act. Okay?
Okay.
When it says life begins at conception, when we get that passed in the 117th Congress, and President Trump signs it into law, it makes Roe v. Wade null and void.
All right.
Okay?
Let's do that.
And
Senate.
that is important.
So if we get the Senate and House,
We keep the Senate, we get the House back.
and that's great. And then
That's what
and
we
we
need.
keep Trump in. Oh
Keep
boy.
Trump in.
Okay. If you're
This is-
pro-life,
this is huge.
if you think what we just talked about was evil, partial birth abortion, and live birth abortion, vote. Make sure you vote. Don't sit this one out. Don't.
These,
and
these are,
get your friends.
These are innocent lives. And Marco Rubio said something years ago, and I just absolutely love it, because people go, well, what about to save the life of the mother? Well, the odds of the mother dying because she's pregnant are very slim. I actually talked to a voter
Yeah.
just before the primary, and his daughter had cancer, and they wanted her to abort the baby so they could treat her. And she said, how long can I go before I start treatment? And she waited.
Good.
And then they delivered the baby C-section.
Good. Now the
And
baby's alive.
The baby's alive, and then they treated her cancer, and she's alive.
There we go. See, because God's going to bless her.
Yes.
You know, now
Gonna
it
bless
doesn't
her.
always work that way, but God will always
Yes.
bless.
And
God
they-
will always
yep.
bless life.
And
always.
and of course, I don't know this when I'm talking to this happened to be the grandfather of the little baby.
Wow.
And I had no idea.
Wow. Wow.
And he said, thank you. I said, because see, I get these questionnaires that says, will you fight to end abortion except for to save the life of the mother in the case of rape or incest? And my answer is no.
You know, science,
but-
science, and they're so good at doing so many things. Of course,
Yeah.
they can
Yeah,
do both.
and these,
I mean,
and these are pro-life organizations that ask these questions, pro-family. Now, what did I just say? I said, I'm going to say no, I will not vote to end abortion except in. Because if I say I'm okay ending abortion except
yeah.
to save the life of the mother,
Uh-huh.
except in the case of rape or incest, then I'm okay with abortion.
Right.
The problem is, I'm not okay with abortion. I cannot answer that question in the affirmative. It's a no-win question. And I call these organizations out on
Yeah.
it.
You know, and
all
how
the
many
time.
people, I think we've all heard of people who they got pregnant, you know, premarital
Mm-hmm.
sex and wasn't, you know, didn't want the responsibility. And then I had health issues or I got headaches or whatever. It's been an excuse for millions and millions and millions of abortions.
Yeah.
We're about out of time.
Yeah,
And,
so let's talk about some other things real quick.
Okay, we are out of time unless you want to do a show too.
We'll do show two.
Okay,
I got time if you got time.
I have time. Why don't you give a encouragement to vote for you, and
All
we'll
right.
just start the next
do
one
that.
after that. Okay.
So my name's Jo Rae Perkins, and if you are pro-life, and I am your pro-life U.S. Senate candidate, I ask you to vote for me. I ask for your prayers, number one. That is the biggest thing, is I am getting out on the campaign trail. I'm actually going across the mountains 3 times, once a week for the next 3 weeks. So traveling mercy prayers are always appreciated. And if you like what you hear and you want to financially support the campaign, my website is PerkinsforUSSenate.vote, and we've got quite a few issues posted on the website. Thank you.
All right. Jo Rae Perkins. Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.